What up? What up? This is top secret information of how to make any MPC be its ultimate weapon. This is the top secret information of how to make any MPC in history just be lethal to any other instrument. Just kill any other instrument as far as beats, tracks, samples, whatever. This is how you kill everybody. So, and I know y'all been waiting on this. Y'all been waiting patiently. So, let's go back to the beginning of time, shall we? Since y'all want to know the secret of how to make any MPC sound good, any of them. The first MPCs, if any or not, came with sounds or didn't come with sounds in them. And even if it came with sounds, people wiped all the 39 sounds out of them. The 39 drums that was already programmed in there, they knocked them out. You know what I'm saying? Some of the early ones didn't come with no sounds in them. And everybody was like, damn, how do you get your sounds? Where it's, you got to realize what the power of it is. It's a sampler. So you can grab any percussion hit anywhere, any kick from anything that you can track in, any snare from anything that you can track in, any Congo sound from anything that you can track in, any hi-hat from anything that you can track in, any shake from anything that you can track in from anywhere in history. You could track it in, and you could take it as a small soundbite sample that you wouldn't get in trouble for, because it's just percussion and nobody can detect it. So back in the day, people used to either gut the sounds or add to it, but they would add their own series of sounds. So they would add in all of the sounds that they necessarily needed and wanted. Where they got these sounds from? Old recordings, old records. They listen to break beats. If any of y'all guys know what a break beat is, it's the beat of the old funk songs that played where it was a break in it and it was just the drummer playing or the rhythm section playing. But it was just percussion. And they used to loop these break beats to let people break dance to. Some of these break beats became the most prolific songs of all time in hip hop. So from that, if you go back in history, you can take those break beats and what, guys? You can chop them up. You can sample into your device individual snares and kicks from these classic sounding records that when you shape the sound of any MPC, you cannot beat it. Now, some MPCs come with different shaping features. That adds to the power of what an MPC is. The old ones came with less features on it to shape sounds. The modern one came with more features to shape sounds. But whatever it was, you can shape the sample and the sound when it got in there. So if it was a kick or a snare, you could detune it. You can pitch it up. You can pitch it down. You know what I'm saying? You can lay it out, and you can have it an 808, and you can lay it out in note form. You could pitch one up individually. That's when they got to 808 drops. They didn't have 808 drops in the TR-808. The TR-808 just had the 808 in it. That's why the earlier hip hop tracks just had one 808. And then when it got to the South and the MPC came along, people started to learn how to take the 808. And the early people, I don't know who the first to do it, but DJ Toon, on all of the 2 Live Crew stuff that he did for their label, he basically took the MPC and took the TR-808 and he laid it out on the pads, and he just pitched them up and pitched them down to where he had some that was lower than the original, and some that was in notes higher than it. And then he would just learn whatever notes he needed to play that was in the key of the song. So that's what I'm saying. Like, some people did it in New York, but more people when it got to the bass era, like the late 80s, early 90s, that's when it got to where the MPC, you know what I'm saying, they started, like, you know what I mean, like 88 and up. That's when they started being like, oh shoot, you can take the 808 and you can pitch it up and pitch it down. Oh man, it's over. So when you knowing you can do any drum like that, any sound like that, you can snatch any drum, any sound from history. You're snatching drums and sounds that somebody might have recorded on a live recording. They might have recorded it on a studio recording. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, wherever they recorded at, whatever gear was going through and whatever circuitry it was going through was probably very expensive, and you can't get your hands on it. And you cannot probably create the sound like that again. So you being able to snatch those drums and being able to archive them to be able to use them at your expense, and being able to track in the way you want to these particular type of drums and these particular type of samples. Because if you know anything about, you know, either plugins or gear, then you would know that depending on how you sample your stuff in, could give you the unfair advantage. You know what I'm saying? If you sampling your stuff in and you putting it through a certain preamp, a certain processor, kind of like analog processing gear, then you're doing something that somebody else ain't doing when they just tracking straight in. So it's giving you an unfair advantage from that particular standpoint. But there's another level to it with the new gear, because the new gear gives you two different unfair advantages over the old gear. And I hate to say it, I like the sound of the old gear better because I've used the old gear back in the day. But the new gear does give you an option of placing any DAC you want to on it and improving its quality of its inputs of sampling and its outputs of tracking. So through that and having that advantage over the old MPCs of being able to pick and choose, you have to spend a little more money. You damn near got to spend more than what you paid for the damn MPC to get the right tracking, because you still got to have some type of mixing type of gear to ensure that there is low noise whenever you track through to track in, if you have multiple pieces of gear, especially if you have an MPC and you have a keyboard. But at the same time, you do have that option of the DAC. But the DAC gives you the option of tracking in at a pro level, not a mediocre level. Sorry, but that's just my take on it. But you can track out at a pro level with basically true independent preamps, and this thing has a ESS DAC in it, so it's its highest quality level. It's the same as like Apogee, you know what I'm saying? But when you go into there, the significance of the MPC is, the new MPCs is, you have inserts. So you have effects inserts, and those effects inserts are connected to a certain selection of new age plugins, like the transient shaper and the air transient, that you can manipulate the transients of the actual sample to cipher the drums at an even higher level of punch. And behind that, you can definitely add the MPC 3000 emulation, just to add a little bit of sauce and a little bit of, I guess, that little bit of 16-bit compression to it and EQ into it, to where it has that, just that little bit of grit, like it's just like a vintage MPC archived drum. You know what I'm saying? And from that situation in that position, when I tell you, I went through every break beat, top 20 break beats in history, and tracked out every kick and snare out of there, one kick and snare out of each one of them. And when I tell you, I got some new drums that will pretty much change the trajectory of this next project. It's the sound that I had when I was in high school and I was using Ray Murray's equipment from Organized Noise that my neighbor was holding for him on a special occasion when he was going out of town. So yeah, it's that significant. Like it's the hardest hitting drums I've ever had in my arsenal, and the best texture and most clearest, because not alone did I just didn't just sample them and grab them. I catered to the shape of the transients and the sounds the way I wanted them to coming in, and then even having them in the new MPCs. You save your pads, and each pad has up to 4 effects, additional effects that you can put on the actual sample drum to clean it up even more, and archiving that. And every time you pull up the program, it's saving those drums effects with it. So you're perfecting the drums after you archive it. Now it's very tedious. All you young guys out there that think this is easy, this ain't easy. So don't be on here thinking like, oh man, I could just go grab somebody else's drums. They drums ain't gonna compare to what you personally do to your own drums when you go select the greatest drums from history, and you selecting the greatest drums from hip hop, from true hip hop. Even if you do R&B, because I do R&B, but I like that. I like hip hop, old school 90s hip hop drums on my R&B. I just do. I like to make your head and your neck snap. You know what I'm saying? You know, the Chad Hugo, theory. You know what I mean? The Teddy Riley theory. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? Like if that kick and that snare ain't hitting like in the 90s, then you can miss me with that. So all you new guys out there like, oh man, that kick and that snare is too loud. Man, I don't care. But anyway, yeah, but it ain't gonna be better than you selecting your own drums from history. You can select drums from anywhere. I didn't just select drums from break beats from the past. I selected drums from some new age stuff too. So I didn't just select drums from break beats from the past. I selected drums from new age things that I like too, like some D'Angelo records. You know what I'm saying? Some other rock and roll records from the mid 90s. So you can snatch drums from anywhere if you can find them, and the drier you can find them, the better, because you can track them in and you can just snip them out. You know what I'm saying? And you have your own set of textured drums that sound like you. That's the secret. To make the MPC of whatever MPC you're using, what you're using. 1,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, 40,000, 50,000. It don't matter. A X, a RS, a ES, a SS, a 2X, a AX, a XL, a double XL. It don't matter. Make it sound like you. That's the goal. Make it sound like you. Sample your own drums. Make it sound like you. That's the goal. Not to make it sound like straight out the box when you trying to read through the instruction manual to find out how many sounds. Damn, the sounds in there. Sample it. It's a sampler. Use it. It's powerful. Buy you a DAC. Connect it to it. Track through the DAC. You get a better sound. Create your own drums. Even if you start slowly and just listen through older music and snatch drum beats from older songs. It would do you a great favor if you even spent the next 2 or 3 months going on a discovery to try to find sounds. Then once you find those sounds, nobody will sound like you. And if you wanted to sell that sound pack, I promise you, if you track it through the right gear, you buy the right stuff you want to. And it can be more than this or less than this or whatever. But if you make it sound good, because the effects in this mug is a little bit more significant than the effects in this thing. So if you can find the right sounds and you track it out, then it'd be worth it you selling the sound pack like EA Ski. EA Ski shouldn't even be giving y'all his sound pack, because it took the time it took for him to probably find those drums and to know that those drums hit and to put them through some type of conversion to give them to you, for them to knock like they do. Come on now. Like, he shouldn't even be doing that. Like, people didn't do that back in the day. That was against the rules back in the day for us to give drums out. Like, that was your signature sound. So for him to do that, you know for a fact that dude probably got 20 times more than what he even gave you. He only gave you like an inkling of what power that he has as far as drums. He did y'all a favor. Big time. He did y'all a big, huge favor. Huge favor. Because you can sound like something. But if you want to really, truly sound like yourself, you got to take the time out and track it out. It takes time. It takes a long time. It's tedious. I'm still building on the drums that I tracked out over this weekend of all the break beats. I'm still being tedious of adjusting effects, making it nice. I want it to be right when I get to work on this next project, and it will. So what I'm saying to you is that, yeah, all y'all out there that want to know the secret sauce is you. You got to go on that discovery of that kung fu. You got to find them kicks, them snares, them drums, them toms, them shakes, them hi-hats, them weird sounds, them car crashes, whatever. You got the internet and you got two ends. You can do whatever you want to. That ain't no excuse. Because 20 years ago, man, ain't nobody had no damn internet, dog. Ain't nobody had no internet like this. Not at this capabilities of tracking, of being able to track into an MPC. No, not the capabilities of being able to go on YouTube and like being able to sample and slice whatever drums from whoever, wherever. Somebody can be drumming at their house and you can take their snare. Y'all ain't thinking. You can steal whatever you want to. Shout out to Stolen Drums. You can steal whatever drum you want to in history. Can't nobody stop you until they come up with that and be like, oh, okay, we putting a stop. They ain't coming up with a stop on that. You better be thankful of that because the drums is what matter. So if you can go out and you can snatch up any drum and make it and learn the ways of the effects to track in the best way, the best sounding when you track in. So when you get it in there, the effects you put on it, when you get in there, the other 4 effects, you can take it to even other level. You know what I'm saying? By cleaning it and then enhancing it when you get it in. And then nobody will sound like that. That snare ain't gonna sound like it when you took it off that sample. It's gonna sound different. It's gonna sound like you, because you made that decision. So it's up to you. That's the top secret formula. All y'all 00, all y'all need to act like it. All y'all need to go on a pilgrimage of finding drums, find new sounds. The same thing that Michael Jackson said to Rodney Jerkins. He said, man, I don't give a damn if you got to go to a damn junkyard. You need to goddamn bang on some shit. Find me some new sounds. I'm tired of these old ass sounds, these same dated sounds that's just generic and stock fucking drums and stock sounds. I ain't doing that. Mike said he ain't doing that. So Mike was the first kind of inspiration of, you know what I'm saying, really pushing it, being like, man, find me some new drums. Find me something that sound different. Find me something that really hit different than everybody else. And that's what y'all need to be finding yourself. So do it for yourself. It's your boy Maximus. Appreciate you. I'm out.